Tensions between Ukraine and Russia have become the latest flashpoint between the Western alliance and Moscow, with the threat of war looming large over Eastern Europe. Just a short while ago, Ukraine's Foreign Minister Dmytro Kuleba called on Russia to withdraw its troops and instead turn to the negotiating table to address its concerns. Listen in.
I want to reiterate, Ukraine calls on Russia to withdraw the troops it amassed near our border, bring them back to their bases, stop intimidating Ukraine and the wider Euro-Atlantic community, and address all issues at the negotiating table only. Here, I would like to specifically stress that Ukraine and our partners, including the United States, have no difference in assessing risks of current Russian escalation. The tone of voice of our messages may sound different, but the actual assessment is the same. Everything is possible, and we should be preparing for every possible scenario. We didn't know what the Russian leadership is up to. We don't know what the Russian leadership is up to, but we worked tirelessly with partners to ensure unity of the broad international coalition in support of Ukraine, in order to reduce security risks and implement strong deterrence measures. The goal is to let Russian leadership soberly understand that any military adventures are not worth their price. I want to stress that Russia uses not only military force to pressure Ukraine, it also invests heavily in destabilizing our country from within. This includes disinformation, cyber attacks, fake bomb threats, attempts to sow distrust and foment popular unrest, attempts to divide Ukraine and its partners. Russian threats already harm our economy. The government of Ukraine is focused on maintaining financial and economic stability. In fact, we ended 2021 with a record economic indicators, highest GDP in 3 decades.
Now, for more on this, we are now being joined by our principal diplomatic correspondent, Siddhant Sibal. Siddhant, thanks so much for joining us. Now, we are given to understand that the Ukraine foreign minister essentially has called on India to appeal to Russia to step back from this crisis and this conflict. What more can you tell us about this?
Well, it was a press conference which was there for the global audience, and WION was present in that press conference. So in response to a WION question on where does Ukraine sees India's role, he basically said that he would like that India conveys to Russia that the aggression should not happen. We know that the troops are amassed at the border, and everyone knows the close relationship India has with Moscow. In fact, the question was that India has close relationship with Ukraine, Russia, and with United States. So the role India can play. We know that recently, on Monday, we saw the UNSC discussing the matter. India, of course, abstaining from the procedural vote, and of course in the national statement, the Indian envoy to United Nations talking about how there should be dialogue and of course recalled about the Minsk package and of course the Normandy talks as well. He also mentioned about the 20,000 Indians who are there. He said that there is no need to worry.
Right, Siddhant, thanks so much for those inputs. We now cut across to a Pentagon briefing where the spokesperson John Kirby is presenting his remarks on the latest tensions.
Nothing precludes the United States from making its own decisions on force movements, including those forces that are being placed on heightened readiness. That said, any movement of U.S. forces involves consultation with the host nation, as we have done with Romania and Poland and Germany prior to today's announcements. And we're mindful of the competing needs of operational security and our obligation to be transparent, and we'll provide you additional information on these and other movements as available and as appropriate. As we have long said, we are continuously reviewing our posture, so there may soon be additional posture decisions to announce, including movements that are part of ongoing military exercises. This is not the sum total of the deterrence actions we will take or those to reassure our allies. I think it won't surprise you, we take a theater-wide approach to deterrence and defense, and we welcome the additional announcements by Spain, Denmark, the UK, and the Netherlands of their consideration to deploy additional forces to reinforce NATO's eastern flank. The United States has robust capabilities distributed across Europe including in the Baltic region, and we will continue to assess needs in that area in cooperation with the relevant allies and, of course, the full NATO alliance. We stand united. We have said that repeatedly. We say it again today. These movements are unmistakable signals to the world that we stand ready to reassure our NATO allies and deter and defend against any aggression. Now, as the Secretary said Friday, we do not know if Russia has made a final decision to further invade Ukraine, but it clearly has that capability. The Department of Defense will continue to support diplomatic efforts led by the White House and the State Department to press for resolution. We do not believe conflict is inevitable. The United States, in lockstep with our allies and partners, has offered Russia a path to de-escalate. But we will take all prudent measures to assure our own security and that of our allies. Now, finally, just one note. I note that in the past few hours, a proposal made by the United States leaked to a European news outlet. We did not make this document public. But now that it is, it confirms to the entire world what we have always been saying. There is no daylight between our public statements and our private discussions. NATO and its partners are unified in their resolve and open to constructive and serious diplomacy. The United States has gone the extra mile to find a diplomatic solution. And if Russia actually wants to negotiate a solution, as it claims it does, this document certainly makes clear that there is a path forward to do so. And with that, we'll take questions, starting with you, Lita.
Hi, John. Thanks. Just a couple details on some of this. Is it still 8,500 total that are on prepared to deploy orders, or are there additional ones? And there's a brigade at Fort Carson that already is scheduled to rotate into Europe. Are you including them? There's been some confusion. Are you including that Carson brigade in the prepared to deploy orders, or are they completely separate because they're an already scheduled deployment? And then one other, are there more, are these troops that are going, are they under NATO, or are these all unilateral U.S. moves? Thank you.
Let me see if I can remember all those. The troops that I'm talking about today will be going under U.S. command. But as I said, in the case of Romania, we know the French are going to be preparing to deploy troops there. We will find ways to complement that force presence, again, in full consultation with Romania. So I wouldn't describe these as unilateral moves. I mean, this is a bilateral arrangement between the United States and Romania. But to your question, they will be going under U.S. command. The 8,500, they still remain on prepare to deploy orders. As I said when I talked about it last Monday, the vast majority of them are designed for the NATO response force. As I said in my opening statement, that force has not been activated, so they aren't going anywhere. The Secretary has, as you might imagine, as we have worked towards these troop movements, there have been additional forces put on prepare to deploy orders or shortened tethers. I'm not prepared to go into great detail today about that, but yes, there have been additional ones. And as I said in my opening statement, you can expect that could continue to happen going forward. We're going to constantly look at the conditions in the region and consult with allies and partners. And if we feel we need to make additional forces more ready, we'll do that. If we feel that we need to send more forces to certain eastern flank countries, we'll do that too, in full consultation with NATO and in full consultation with the specific allies and partners. And I think I missed one of your questions, Lita.
WION World is One is now available in your country. Download the app now and get all the news updates on the move.